The chant was, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" This is despicable.
Boy, did I speak too soon. In my last episode, I spoke about the attack on Paul Pelosi. And I wanted to give the story the benefit of the doubt, because I didn't want to believe that these Democrats would actually do what they are now doing. I should have known better, but I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though we're 2 weeks away from the midterm elections. But this just goes to show you how scared they are that they're going to lose either both chambers of Congress or at least one. Biden couldn't wait to get on stage and make this speech.
While this invasion is ongoing, the news reports indicate it was intended to be an attack on the house Nancy Pelosi lives in, the third ranking person in the United States in line to be president. You know, it's reported that the same chant was used by this guy they have in custody that was used on January 6th in the attack on the U.S. Capitol. I'm not making this up. This is reported. I can't guarantee it. I can tell you what's being reported. The chant was, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" This is despicable. There's no place in America. There's too much violence, political violence, too much hatred, too much vitriol. And what makes us think the one party can talk about stolen elections, COVID being a hoax, there's all a bunch of lies, and it not affect people who may not be so well balanced? What makes us think that it's not going to corrode the political climate? Enough is enough.
I don't know where they're getting that information from. Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? There are reports circulating that this David DePape, who was supposedly some nudist activist from Berkeley, there are reports circulating that he was actually a visitor in Pelosi's home that night, and that the housekeeper may have called the police because she didn't know Paul had a guest. But I can't confirm that. I'm only telling you what I heard. It's online. You can look it up for yourself. But of course, this seems to be turning out to be nothing but a ploy by the Democrats to sway voters in 2 weeks to not vote for any Republicans. They are blaming January 6th, the January 6th insurrection. They're blaming this as part of that. Radical right-wing activists. This is the reason this person broke into Pelosi's home. And MSNBC, they just had to jump right on board with it and talk about it as one of their highlighted videos of the day.
Before the assault occurred, according to this source, the intruder confronted Mr. Pelosi in their home, shouting, "Where is Nancy? Where is Nancy?" Debbie Dingell, that's what the intruders going through the hallways on January 6th were shouting, "Nancy, Nancy." This is part of the January 6th insurrection toxicity that has infected the brains of people around the country.
And Andrea Mitchell, she couldn't have been happier talking about that. The toxicity that has infected people's brains across the country from the MAGA attack on January 6th. They literally are running so scared that they know they have nothing else. They've tried everything in their power to sway voters, and every poll that comes out lately is in favor of a Republican, or it's a tied race between both parties. So now we have this supposed burglary and attack on Paul Pelosi. And again, like I said in my last episode, Paul Pelosi was attacked. It's wrong. It's wrong no matter what it was, whether it was a guest, whether it was an intruder. It was wrong, and no one should be subject to an attack like that, especially an 82-year-old man. And if this guy was a guest and that's his thing, who cares? Good for him. But no one should be injured like that, especially being hit over the head with a hammer. That to me is just disgusting behavior, no matter what the reason was for this attack. But they can't seem to get around the fact that the mainstream media, when all the BLM George Floyd riots were going on, they reported it like this is what's supposed to happen. They're supposed to burn down people's property. They're supposed to injure police officers or injure each other. Because after all, George Floyd was a saint, and he should not have been killed. And I'll agree with one thing. No, he shouldn't have been killed. If he was killed by the knee on his neck, I don't know. I'm not a medical examiner. But he was supposedly killed by the knee on the neck, choking him. Others say he was loaded with fentanyl in his system. That's besides the point. He shouldn't have died that way, but he did. But the mainstream media reported it as, oh, these are just peaceful riots. There's no problems. They didn't care about that. They didn't care when someone who is, I guess, against Bernie Sanders was shot. They didn't care when Justice Kavanaugh was almost abducted and killed in his home. The Dems didn't want to provide security for the Supreme Court judges. No, they could care less. And they didn't care when a young canvasser for the Republican Party was attacked by someone and had his jaw broken. What the mainstream media did was blame the canvasser. And they did not care that Rand Paul got attacked and had broken ribs. As a matter of fact, a person on NBC said it was one of her favorite stories. So watch this quick clip.
The media ignored the Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots. Remember, called them justified and mostly peaceful. Never blamed Bernie when a Bernie bro shut up Steve Scalise. A left-wing assassin nearly took the life of Brett Kavanaugh after the SCOTUS leak, and Democrats still didn't want to add protection to justices' homes. A Republican canvasser just had his jaw broken, and the media blamed him. And when Rand Paul got his ribs cracked by his crazy neighbor, it was one of MSNBC's favorite stories.
New details today on the incident that left Senator Rand Paul with 6 broken ribs. This might be one of my favorite stories.
Even Pelosi's daughter said Rand Paul deserved it.
Can you imagine if a conservative reporter was saying things like that? They would probably try to get this reporter fired from their job and not be able to ever work again in news. But to them, to the left-wing media, that's okay. It's okay to talk about someone getting attacked. It was their fault. I'm happy Rand Paul was injured. And the BLM riots were supposed to happen. That was okay. And it was okay that they were so violent that it caused billions of dollars in damage. That's okay. But if you talk about this attack on Pelosi, if you say anything other than what they're saying, this was a burglary, this was an attack, this person was looking for Nancy, if you say anything other than that, you're the problem, you're inciting violence, and you're wrong. But they always go on to say that crime is happening because Republicans are racist. White people are racist. The Democrats are not worried about high crime. They're not worried about inflation. All they care about is abortion. And that's one of the main reasons why they're going to lose in 2 weeks, So that's why they put this into play. Anybody who would think we're going to set this up and we're going to call it an attack on our democracy because they were really going after Paul on Nancy, they should just be removed from society. They have no place in a civilized society. If in fact it's true that Paul Pelosi had a visitor and something went south and he was attacked, who cares? But God forbid you disgrace the almighty Nancy Pelosi. You will never hear the truth about this. They're going to continue to push this narrative that it was just a horrific attack. And if it was, again, it's absolutely wrong and it should never happen. But the Democrats always want to blame race for rising crime.
With actual crimes, those 8 homicides, and we're dealing with the perception of fear that people are feeling.
In Republican politics, the issue of crime and the issue of immigration have long been proxies for race, for playing the race card.
I also want to make sure that this hysteria, that this doesn't drive a hysteria.
The perception in this case counts more than the actual rapes.
Part of the Republican playbook, as you well know, is to point a finger at large, diverse cities and say large, diverse cities are lawless. What we see here is the same old playbook, which is about coded and racist messaging.
And there you have it. This is what's happening right now. And the closer we get to November 8th, this is all we're going to hear about. We're going to hear more about this attack. We're going to hear that it's a MAGA Republican, that he was in there spewing hatred towards Democrats, towards Nancy Pelosi. We're going to hear he was aligned with Republicans and with all the extremists who descended on the Capitol on January 6th. We're going to hear all of that. But we're not going to hear the truth. And don't expect to ever hear the truth from mainstream media, MSNBC, CNN, because you never will. They are pushing this agenda of the Democratic Party to make everybody think that they are the be-all, save-all of our country, when we all know the truth. They are not. And like I said in the past, all Republicans aren't saints either. But you got to wonder, if the Republicans take control of Congress, will things get better? Will they stop all this spending, billions and billions of dollars on things, and nothing good is happening in our country? Nothing's being built back better. But the Ukrainian president is living in a mansion out of the pockets of the American people. This whole political violence thing happens on both sides, and it's just absolutely wrong. And I don't have a clip of AOC, but she had to say that the political violence coming from the extreme right wing is a problem in this country, and the Republicans are the reason that so many people are becoming victims of crime. Not because of the weak on crime policies of Democrats, no. It's all because of extremist, violent Republicans. AOC, so you take that with a grain of salt. I don't know what else to say about this. I just had to come back today because I didn't want to be negative and think that they set this thing up or they're just spinning it because they don't want to tell you what it really was. But it seems that it may not have been a burglary after all. I mean, why would the police get a call for a well-being check at 2:30 in the morning instead of a call for a burglary in progress at Pelosi's home? Those questions need to be answered. And I think there are so many more questions that we would like answered. And unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever know the truth. So one more time, I do hope Pelosi makes a recovery. No matter what he's into, no matter what it was, he didn't deserve to get attacked like that. No one does. Not anybody who's rich, not anybody who's poor, not anybody who's homeless. No one deserves to be attacked like that. But this is just another example of the nervous Democrats, if you will. They are doing anything and everything they can to sway voters in 2 weeks in their favor. And I do hope that this doesn't work. I hope people can read between the lines and maybe try to put the pieces together of this, because I, for one, now am skeptical. And there's way too many unanswered questions, in my view, especially the police response and the police call of a well-being check. Why? It doesn't make sense. And hopefully somebody will tell the truth, but that remains to be seen. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't liked this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell. Please share my videos with someone. I appreciate that. I hope everybody's healthy and safe, and I'll see you again real soon with something else. Have a great day.